sir, to the audience. S. Sridharan is presently the senior yoga therapist, consultant, and mentor at Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, Chennai. He is a student of famous TKV Desikachar since the 1980s and learned the nuances of yoga in the Gurukula style directly for over 3 decades from his guru. In this time, he was exposed to all the important texts in yoga and application of yoga for illness and spirituality. In 2002, he took the position of managing trustee of KYM, which was held by Desikachar for 25 years. During his career as the managing trustee, KYM moved to its own building and also got ISO certification. From 2010 to 2015, he served as a member of the governing body and governing council of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. He represents KYM in the Indian Yoga Association and he is also a lifetime member of IYA. He was awarded the title Dronacharya by the Rotary Club of Madras East. He is widely traveled and represented India in the World Yoga Festivals in China and UK. He has also authored a book which gives the biographical sketch of T. Krishnamacharya in Tamil. Welcome, sir. We look forward to your talk.
Thank you, Swami. My respects to Swami Atma Priyanandaji Maharaj and namaste and good evening for the participants. I will start with a prayer to my teachers. Shri Krishna Vagisha Yatishwarabhyam Samprapta Chakrankana Bhashya Saram Srinutnarankentra Yatau Samarpita Swam Shri Krishna Maryam Guru Variyamide Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatatara Krutodayam Yogacharyam Krishna Maryam Guruvaryamaham Bhaje Krishna Suri Daya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanatharyam Vandegam Yogadeshikam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hare Om Shanno Mitrasham Varunaham Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadbhaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Bhaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I'll share the slides. Well, the topic, as we can see, is the essentials of pranayama. In fact, I gave the topic myself to the organizer because I had occasions to talk on pranayama, a number of forums, occasions. Here I would like to share the practical aspects of pranayama, because there are some other talks which are talking about the theoretical aspects also, some other research angle, etc. Here it is just a practical angle of pranayama, I will start with in a different way. What is the first lesson in yoga? I think probably all of you or most of you would have had an occasion to attend yoga lessons. Generally, when we enroll, go to a teacher or enroll particularly, the first lesson what it will be? Mostly it will be a posture, asana. And most of the time when it is going to be a group or when it is going to be something for fitness, it always will start with Tadasana, the tree posture. Even if it is going to be Surya Namaskar, it will start with Tadasana. But in Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, Kevayam, which is giving the teachings of Krishnamacharya given to us by T.K. Vidyashikachar, we generally and almost always start with teaching the correct technique of breathing. In fact, interestingly, even the first lesson could be on lying position, which I have shown. With one palm just below the navel, one palm above the navel. For example, the right arm of this person is just above the navel, but the little finger will be almost on the navel. The thumb of the left hand will be on the navel, they touch each other. This can also be done differently with one middle finger being touching the navel. It can also be done. But what is the idea of this is, when we do an exhalation and when we do an inhalation, we want certain parts of the body to move. Exhalation, lower abdomen, it starts there. That form, particularly the left form, will slowly come down, contracting below, particularly the navel. On complete exhalation, a pause is given. The person will be asked to give a pause. And then, say we will start inhaling. And inhaling, we will train in such a way that the inhalation will not be very fast but smooth, slow, so that the abdomen which is contracted is slowly released. This is essentially the first lesson in yoga. I would say that if this is done, that is the best way to learn. So, why do we do this? Is there an authority for this, or it is just something that has probably come up a bit later years? Generally, our teacher Krishnamacharya always quotes Shastras for any technique, any teaching that he gives. He was a great Vedic scholar, a scholar in all the Vedic text. So is there a pramana for this? That is, the technique is contract the lower abdomen, particularly starting below the navel, slowly on exhale. Then on inhale, slowly release the abdomen. So something moves from below the navel upward, something comes from above the navel, from the chest to abdomen, abdomen to chest. There is a movement you can see. In fact, it is a movement of the breath, movement of the breath from abdomen to chest, chest to abdomen. Where is the pramana for this? The first question is, where is the pramana for this? In fact, I just want to share with the participants here. It looks very simple, but it is very, very difficult to do. In my experience as teacher, I have found that sometimes doctors will say, I know what is the correct technique of breathing. This is known as diaphragmatic breathing. I know the diaphragm movement, but I am unable to do. There are reasons why it is not easy, because there is a physical, contraction, release, which also relates to the mind, because the command comes from the mind, and the mind has to be in a particular state to make this smooth, and that is how the reverse happens. When the breath is smoother, the mind is also smooth. The authority for this movement is apane juhvati pranam, prane apanam tatha pare, prana apana gati ruddha, pranayama parayanaha, which is from the Bhagavad Gita, and it is in the 4th chapter, 29th verse. Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the text of yoga, Yoga Shastra, and it is certainly a pramana. And what does it say about what I talked now? What does it say? Pour juhvati, pour apana into apana. And as I have put in the left side a small diagram, the prana positions, the prana in the navel, below the navel, is called apana position. This place is called apana. If you touch your below the navel, you can see that part is apana. The chest is that part which is prana. Prana is one, but because of functions it becomes Mahapranas 5. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. The apana is that prana which is below the navel. Apanayati iti apana, that which is responsible for taking out everything malas from the system. When the prana is poured, that is, when the air goes from chest to abdomen, it is inhalation. Similarly, when the air goes from the abdomen to the chest, it is, because chest is the place of prana, into chest, the apana, stomach is the, lower abdomen is the place of apana, it is poured, it is exhalation. In fact, these two explanations of this is given by the great commentators, including Shankara, Ramanuja and others. They say apane juhvati pranam, it is puraka, prane apanam tatha pare, it is rechaka. So, the idea of the movement is given in a different dimension, of course. The words used are not stomach and chest, but the place, that is the place which is where apana is there, where prana is there. And that is how we understand, and our teachers have told us the right technique of breathing. Of course, the physiology of breathing in the modern medical science also talks about it. And stopping of movement of prana and apana is hold. Prana apana gati ruddha, pranayama parayanaha. Therefore, what is happening is to interfere into the natural movement of the breath, which is involuntary. Breath movement is involuntary. We are all breathing now, but we are not aware of it. And it has been made involuntary by the nature because the breath is vital for life. Unnecessarily holding for a long period may be fatal. So it is made involuntary, vegas. Na vegan dharayet. One of them is breath. But when you diligently interfere into the natural movement of breath, which is involuntary, and make it voluntary, then pranayama starts. And the technique for that is this. Observe the movement first. We will ask the person to observe the movement, and the moment you place the palms on the abdomen and just above and below the navel, we will ask them to become calm and just observe the movement, and then you say slowly take charge. When there is a movement downward, visualize there is an exhalation taking place. Take charge of that. Slowly contract the abdomen, give a pass, slowly release. Now, in terms of order of practice, actually asana precedes pranayama. Reference is Yoga Sutra and Hatha Yoga Pradipika, all text including. Ashtanga Yoga, in Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana will come first. Then only Pranayama will come. In Yoga Sutra it says, Tasmin Sati Swasa Prashwasayoho Gati Vichetaha Pranayamaha. In Hatha Yoga Pradipika, in the second chapter, it will say, Athasane Dride Yogi Vati Vashihita Asanaha Guru Upadishtamargena Pranayaman Samabhyaset. In either way, asana precedes pranayama. How does learning the correct technique help here? Because it looks like pranayama is preceding, isn't it? No, the correct technique of breathing helps in integrating the breath in asana. Without right breathing practice in asana, not of us, in asana, it will become, asana will become just a physical exercise. Supposing you go to a park and see, there will be a lot of people who will be raising the arm up and down, sometimes very fast. They will turn also this way, that way. Are they asanas? Because they will resemble asanas. If you just raise the arms up in standing position and stretch up and raise the heels, it is one posture, Tadasana. How does asana differ from a physical exercise is the technique, the breathing involved there. So we inhale, make a movement, exhale, make another movement. As we raise the arms up, we generally inhale, it aids, it opens up the diaphragm, it opens up the rib cage, the diaphragm will drop down. It is a natural way of breathing. So when we integrate the breathing with asana, it gets the real position of the asana's place. So that is why we are very clear in our institute to teach the correct technique of breathing. And when we bend forward, it will be exhale. When we bend backward, it will be inhale. When we twist, it will be exhale. In the posture, staying and doing breathing. So, the right technique of breathing has the most important advantage of making the asana a real yogic asana. And also, the right technique of breathing will make the breathing as an attentive activity. As I told you, the moment you make an involuntary breathing into voluntary, it becomes attentive. It also has, additionally, increasing the capacity of breathing. That's why I have put this diagram on the right side top. You can see the diaphragm has gone up. In fact, when the right exhalation is done, right technique of exhalation is done, the diaphragm will go up because the stomach is contracted. The stomach is contracted in such a way that, in fact, it is the lying down position. If someone sees a person who is properly doing, it will be like a lake. It is called the Tataka Mudra. The position in the lower abdomen will be called as Tataka Mudra. It will be like a lake. So that much, when that amount of contraction is done, the diaphragm will go up. The diaphragm will go up in such a way that it will go up to trachea. Now comes the important point. When we slowly start releasing the diaphragm on inhale, when the diaphragm release is done very slowly and the diaphragm will stretch because the diaphragm is attached to the rib cage ends. As soon as the air goes in, it releases and the diaphragm will be almost straight. What is now here in the form of a curve will become straight, and this place is known as reserve place, where we don't even use it at all unless we do a correct technique of breathing. So it makes it diaphragmatic breathing, allows use of lungs at 100% capacity to increase the lung efficiency. Now, why pranayama is important? Having stated about the right technique of breathing, because it is essential, that is why I took it up first. What are the essentials of pranayama? Why pranayama is important? I am going to link something with that. Pranayama, there is no tapas superior to pranayama. It removes impurities and makes the light of knowledge shine. This is a quotation from the commentary, Vyasa's commentary to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the primary commentator whose commentary is held in high esteem. Now, this commentary comes to the sutra, under the sutra, Tataha Kshiyate Prakasha Avaranam. Prakasha Avaranam. Prakasha actually means sattva here. Prakashas Kriyastiti Shilam. That is how Yoga Sutra talks about the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. The rajas and tamas are avaranam. They are covering the prakasha. That covering is brought down by the practice of pranayama. For this, that is the essential meaning of this sutra. But the commentator gives an excellent idea here. Tapo na param pranayamaha tattva vishuddhi malanam deeptischa jnanasya. How? Because prakasha is coming up and malas have come down. Malanam vishuddhi. What is mala? Impurities. What are the impurities? We will see. What are the impurities? Jnanasya deeptihi. Prakasha is also jnana deeptihi. The practice of pranayama weakens and gradually attenuates that karma of the yogin, which wields revelation and brings about the cycle of birth and death. That karma. In fact, to that extent, later I am going to talk about how pranayama is very important in a number of ways. Now, how does this happen? Technically, okay, how does this happen? Let us look at it. Tapa, the word tapu dahe means to burn. It burns. Particularly when we say tapa, it is burning the impurities only. Kaya shoshanam tapas in Sanskrit. There is a fire in the human system located between prana and apana. I told you about putting the fingers, just where the fingers are meeting, that place is the place of Agni. And Agni is going up as I have given in the illustration. Navel is there, apana is below. Now, the seat of the fire is near navel. On inhalation, every inhalation, in fact, why pranayama parayanaha is, it is a model of meditation there actually in the 4th chapter. When we do something like that, we are also supposed to do a bhavana. On inhalation, you can visualize there is a downward movement of the breath, and because of these downward movements create a current as if in a tube which draws the flame down. Visualize you have got a flame, something like a lamp or something. You go near the lamp and slowly give air, it will come down. It will come down because flame is always agram nayati iti agni. Flame is always up. It is the heat of the flame that burns the mala, which is in the impurity. So on inhalation, it comes down. So what is the cycle? The cycle is, in fact, we always start with exhalation, essentials of pranayama. First thing is exhalation. Why? When you exhale, we are slowly taking, by contracting the abdomen, you are taking the impurities near the navel. Holding it there, you are holding. Inhale, bring the flame of the Agni towards the mala. Keep it there on hold. It burns. On next exhale, turn it out. It goes away. Hold. Then when you breathe in, you are taking the prana in. Actually, there is 2 cycles here you can see. For 2 sets of pranayama will have to be done. Exhale, hold. Inhale, hold. Exhale, hold. Inhale, hold. And this cycle will, at that time, we are bringing the malas from various places, putting them into the apana like a dustbin and cleaning them and sending it away. Now, let us see, prana is not able to enter the body because something is there, which are the impurities, mala. At the mental level, the malas are the kleshas, maha kleshas, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. If you ask, nowadays they call toxins. In fact, when I was talking about in the presence of number of doctors, they were saying that yes, you are right, this is the dustbin where everything is accumulating. The more the below the navel becomes, it is a sort of disease. At physical level also, it is the impurities there. Mental level, it is kleshas. These impurities are collected and held at the place of apana, which is below the navel. Apana vayu is responsible for excretion, but the excess of them is a problem. Anything excess is a problem, or little is a problem. So when there is apana vayu excess, this is because of the accumulation, there is a problem. That is why we find that a bloated stomach is also a issue. Sharpness of breath, difficulty in holding the breath, difficulty in making exhalation longer. These are all the indications there is more apana in the system. So we will have to work towards that, and the right technique of breathing alone will make this possible. So we take a lot of time to sit with the students to get this technique as a conditioning for them, as a conditioning. Now, there is a role. What are the essentials? The first essential is the right technique of breathing. Then we have what should be done. One, when we want to do pranayama, any type of pranayama, what is to be done? What posture in which is pranayama has to be done? We have got generally known pranayamas are Nadi Shuddhi, Nadi Shodhana, which is a very important pranayama. Apart from that, we have got Ashtakumbhaka, which is coming from the Athayoga Pratipika. These Ashtakumbhakas are those which are essentially pranayamas which are helping in the therapy. The most important pranayama is Nadi Shuddhi, Nadi Shodhana. Whatever is the pranayama, they are done only in a seated position. Then you may ask a question, after all you started with the lying position. Lying position is a training like. In fact, every day, even we ourselves will lie down and do this so that we get into the activity of breathing. It is just like starting a car. So we get into that activity of breathing. When pranayama has to be done, it has to be done in a seated position. And when we do that, the spine should be erect. Why it should be erect means, if by any chance there is a forward bend, it will hinder the inhalation. If by any chance the spine goes backward, it will hinder the exhalation. Or even side movements will hinder inhale. So it should be straight. Like what is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Samakaya Shirogrivam. The same way the body is held in the position. This is very essential, and this is a prerequisite even. Athasane dhride yogi. In fact, one of the idea of athasana dhrida is to sit, and sit in this position without making any shaking. Until if you are going to do 10 minutes of pranayama, 15 minutes of pranayama, it must be held in the position. The chin has to be down actually, because we are going to see the role of bandhas here. Mind, second point, essentially, the mind should be sattvic to do pranayama. In the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, second chapter, 7th verse, it says, Pranayamam tataha kuryat nityam satvikaya dhiya. How can you are given a prerequisite here. This prerequisite is generally not known unless you deeply go into it. We always think, okay, maybe I have to do asana, I will do the asana, And as you rightly said, maybe it increases the capacity of my breathing and all that. No, it doesn't give the full effect unless you have the sattvika diya. And how does sattvika diya we get it? Because we have to get it before pranayama. In fact, pranayama gives sattvika, that is different. That is maintaining the sattvika diya. It is prakasha tataha shiyate prakasha avaranam is also giving the sattvika. But you need this in advance, and asana practice can make this mind sattvic. How does it make the mind sattvic? Because in Hatha Yoga Pratipika, there are 3 results which are given for practice of asana. Stairyam, Arogyam, Angalagavam. Stairyam. If you do asana correctly, it will give you the ability to sit without making any shakes. Stairyam. Which is the opposite of rajas, because it is because of the rajas that the body moves. At that point of time, the commentator Brahmananda says, asanena rajohanti. Because of the practice of asana, rajas will be put down. In fact, we should do asana in such a way that it does not increase the rajas. That is why we don't ask people to jump, do so many activities. We should correlate with the breath. It should be a very beautiful movement. Asanena rajohanti. In fact, it also brings down the tamas also, because it makes the body angalagavam, lagutvam. And the idea of stairyam, arogyam. Arogyam is opposite of ruju, samtape, roga. The roga is on account of rajas and tamas. It is also put down. Second is, there is a role for food here in pranayama. This also must be very clearly understood. Ahara. Sattvika food is also essential. Pranayama will give its good results only when sattvic food is also to be consumed. And Bhagavad Gita is the best source. Ayugu, Sattva, Balam, Arogyam, Sukha, Priti, Vivardhanaha, Rasyaha, Snigdhaha, Sthira, Hridya, Aharaha, Sattvika Priyaha. Interestingly, this verse says, these are those which are dear to Sattvika beings. So they are essentially Sattvika by nature, and when you become Sattvika by nature, you will only go towards this food. Even if you are taken to a place, you don't have to, you will know that only this food will be, I like it. The moment you start saying I like it, dear, Priya. So I've been doing yoga and making the mind into the sattvic position, and naturally my tendency for the food is also sattvika. That is why there is a lot of question, sweet should be, is it sweet, oil, substantial, can you give? The idea here is you will know about it. You will yourself know the correct sattvika food. Now, role of a guru. Essentially, there is a role for a guru. Guidance to lead in the right direction. In fact, the whole thing comes from the first verse of the second chapter of the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, Athasane Dride Yogi, Vashihita Mita Ashanaha, Guru Upadishta Margena, Pranayaman Samabhyaset. Guidance of the Guru to lead in the direction. Why we need a guidance? Why not we look at books or anything? Practice of pranayama has immense positive effects, but has also the potential to give negative effects. Pranayamena yuktena sarvaroga kshayo bhavet, ayukta abhyasa yogena sarvaroga samudbhavaha. In fact, a list of problems are also given. Hikka, shvasa, khasasya, shiraha, karnakshi, vedanaha, bhavanti vividha rogaha pavanasya prakopataha. If you wrongly do pranayama, because of which the vitiation of pavana, the air, wind, happens, a list of ear problems, eye problems, everything is given. In fact, sarva roga samudbhava, also as an example, the author gives some of the problems. So yukta ayukta pranayamena yuktena. What is yukta abhyasa? A skill in practice. A skill in practice. So the commentator rightly says, right food habits, ahara, and use of bandhas, and that is where we get into the idea of bandhas also. The bandhas are 3 in number. It's a larger topic. There are 3 places in the body where contractions are done. One is below the navel, another is above the navel, one is at the level of the neck. When we do the chin down, it is called Jalandhara Bandha. When we contract the abdomen, I told you on exhalation, and if you have done it correctly, if the contraction has been done correctly, the whole position below the navel goes up, it is a bandha, it is Mula Bandha. Above the navel it goes up, it is Udhyana Bandha. All these 3 bandhas must be done. Only when you do with the bandhas, it will give the right effect. It will also avoid Ayukta Abhyasa Yoga. It will avoid that. So there are some, Yukta also has some dimensions in breathing. And the Hatha Yoga Pradipika talks about it. Neither inhalation should be too much nor too little. Exhalation should be shanaihi, slow and not fast. Hold according to the capacity initially and improve it to the maximum later. I am summing up, and where I want to sum up, I will give you some ideas about what is the essentials of this pranayama. Pranayama is the 4th anga of the Ashtanga Yoga. Even though it is 4th, it is very important, as it is an essential step in achieving dharana sucha yogyata manasaha, which leads to dhyana and ultimately to samadhi. Pranayama in the Vedic rituals has an important part. It is an antashuddhi, it is an internal purification act. Practice of pranayama has the potential to remove sins, papas. The Yoga Yajnavalkya Samhita talks about it. So many pranayamas will remove the papas. This happens through the control of rajas and tamas. Why should one do papa? Arjuna is asking Krishna. And Krishna says, Kamayesha, Krodayesha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. It is because of the Rajoguna. So when rajas and tamas are put down, the person will not do papa. So practice of pranayama puts down the rajas and tamas. That is how it helps in removing papa. Pranayama will give its due effects only when essentially it is followed with the right food, practice of asana, bandha, under the guidance of a good teacher. Namaste, Maharaj.
Swastestu Brahman, Swastimestu. Tasmat Prati 3 in Varan, I don't want. 3 in Varan and 3 bandhas. No, I was just thinking whether 3 bandhas can be related to the 3 granthi mentioned in the Lalita Sahasranama.
Maybe.
Muladhara, Nipura, and Agnya.
Yes.
These are the Brahma Granthi and Vishnu Granthi and the Rudra Granthi.
They are mentioned in Hatha Yoga Pradipika also, Maharaj. They come in the same things comes in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika in Nadanusandana. And when the prana moves in, but actually to tell you my answer is, the bandhas really help according to Atyoga Pratipika, the bandhas are helping in opening up, and the Kundalini will, the prana, the prana moves, helps. The three bandhas are called Karana and Mudra. They are called Mudras and Karanas, two names. And they help actually in making the prana go up. When the prana goes up, they go into these three granthis one by one. That is stated there. So this is primarily a practice, helps in making the prana enter the Sushumna, and when it enters the Sushumna, it goes into Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi, Shiva Granthi.
So now this idea of Sushumna and then Ida Pingala, somehow our Yoga Sutra completely bypasses this idea. There in Hatha Yoga Pratipika, etc. This.
Yes. Hatha Yoga Pratipika is there, in Yoga Yajnavalkya Samhita also is there. But according to Krishnamacharya Maharaj, he says that essentially what we are talking about, Kundalini, or is a klesha that we are talking about. As far as Yoga Sutra is concerned, he says it is the kleshas, the symptomatic way of addressing it as in the part of it is Kundalini, a block. But as far as Yoga Sutra is concerned, it is this avidya. The avidya is there, and you remove the avidya, it paves the way for the idea of prana entering and all doesn't come in Yoga Sutra.
But prana, see, simple Swami Vivekananda's Raja Yoga, he specifically mentions this Kundalini thing, which is not, and Yoga Sutra is separated out. There are two parts of it. One is the Raja Yoga he talks about, the other Yoga Sutra is a totally different part, almost disconnected from the earlier part.
Now, the connection was made by Krishnamacharya Maharaj. He said that please look at the Kundalini as avidya of the Yoga Sutra. You remove avidya, what are you doing? Tataha akshiyate prakasha avaranam. When you are removing what are we removing? We are removing prakasha avaranam. Avaranam is rajas and tamas. The expression of rajas and tamas is avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. That's all. Sattva Purusha Yoga Sutti Samye Kaivalyam. The mind is full of sattvic. When you want to make the mind fully sattvic, you have to remove the shiyate. And that is what is Kundalini. You give a particular symptomatic way of expression.
That very much corroborates with Vedanta, because Avidya Shakti is considered the Kundalini, which is called Prakriti. This is also called Avidya. It's called Brahma Shakti. And the one thing is, Avidya itself is enough. Why five are mentioned?
Expressions. I cannot see my avidya. I don't know. In fact, if you ask me, I will say, Maharaj, I have no avidya. Only after you kindle my this thing, then immediately I shout out. Then you say, please look at it. It has expressed itself as raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. They are like the branches. And the most important part is asmita, which itself is not known. And avidya is the most, that is why it is called avidya kshetram uttaresham prasupta thanu vichinna udarana. It comes in four ways. And all the four are independent and they are connected. When I am in the midst of a lot of people, or when I come to your own place in your room, or even in the environment there, where has gone to my avidya? Has it gone away? The moment I come out of the place, it comes immediately back. Prasupta.
That is the idea of Kundalini coiled up at the base of the Mooladhara.
And Bhagavad Gita, he says, it is Maya, I am the Maya. He says, you have to fall at my feet to get out of this Maya. No?
How do you relate this, the idea, Swami Vivekananda's idea, that the Ida and Pingala carry the nerve currents.
Huh.
Now, Swamiji says beautifully, nerve currents are through the nerve currents, these impulses are carried. He says actually nerve currents are not required because nature can do without wires.
Yes.
Nerve currents. Nature can do without it. There he says, we are using these nerve currents because and all these wires, because at the moment we don't have the ability to get rid of them. But
Yes.
nature has done it already. Before violence was invented, long before violence was thought about, he made this point. And if you go to the Sushumna, then you completely get rid of the bondage of matter.
Yeah.
That's why the awakening, the opening of the Sushumna is a whole trick.
Most important.
People who talk about yoga, people who this opening of the Sushumna, nobody really emphasizes.
It is most important. In fact, only in Atyoga Pratipika it talks about it. It says that there are two important postures through which we can achieve this. One is Mahamudra. Our Acharya, Krishnamacharya always says, whatever posture that you do every day, please do Mahamudra. The moment we do Mahamudra, very posture along with breathing, where there is a seated posture, it's a very special posture, Maharaj, and it actually activates the Kundalini. What happens? It activates, opens up. The moment we do Paschimottanasana, which is the forward bending in a seated position, and the commentator says in Hatyoga Pratipika, Pavanam Paschima Vahini Gacchati. That is, the air is going backward. That means, the commentator says, it is the prana slowly entering now the Sushumna.
Oh, so Mahamudra, how do you, is it practiced?
Yeah, it is a posture where one leg is kept forward, another leg is bent. It is a seated posture, another leg is bent and kept by the side, and the hands are holding the hand will hold the position. I can show you if you want from the Google. We have to go to Google and draw a picture and show it.
No, but it is physical.
No, that is the point. That is the problem. See, that is the problem, Maharaj. The whole thing has been made physical. Made physical. It is not. And there it says, the commentator as well as the says, you have to do, at that time, you will do a deep breathing of inhale, exhale, hold. In our parampara, in our this thing, all the three bandhas have to be done with breathing in that. All the three bandhas. And it is the only posture where you can do all the three bandhas. And when you do exhale, take the navel up. To the extent both the bandhas will come. Inhale, stop. Do the bandhas. Three bandhas. And you have to do an inhale hold. When you are doing an inhale hold on the left hand, left side, you will have to see that there something is happening on the left side. Right side something is happening. So you can see that both the sides of Ida and Pingala are being working. So there should be something inward. In fact, when my teacher was teaching me Mahamudra, he came from behind and just put his feet and said, this is the place where you have to focus now. And it is just not physical. Postures are not physical as long as we do the right breathing technique there.
So asanas are always to be combined with breathing proper.
In our parampara, it is the.
Swamiji also says that during Kumbhaka, the breath has to come and strike at the Muladhara to awaken the Sushumna.
Yes.
What is that?
No, that is the breath. In fact, in the Hatyoga Pratipika also says, how do we do that? As I told you, Maharaj, we need to do. That is why they say Guru Upadishta Margena, Guru Upadishta Margena. What is the idea of Guru Upadishta Margena? See, Guru, I have seen this. My Guru tells me, you sit down and do this now. So when I am going to do an exhale, inhale, as I was talking about the way the malas are taken up, inhale, it goes down, and the next inhale, after the mala has been taken out by burning, in the next inhale, it actually pushes down. You can visualize, as we do, we can visualize. And it pushes, the next inhale, the prana is coming, and I will visualize that it has gone into the chakra now. And I will hold it there. I need to hold it for some time. And Kumbhaka has an effect.
So somehow the Sushumna has to open, otherwise no.
Sushumna, yes, Nadi Shuddhi. The moment you do the Nadi Shuddhi properly, Sushumna has to. How do we know whether Sushumna has opened up? Malas have to be gone away. How do we know malas have gone away, Maharaj? When we breathe in and breathe out, the breathing and breathe out must be very, very smooth. And that is what they call as Kevala Kumbhaka. It is so smooth. You know, it is like as if somebody else is breathing. Malas have gone away. And the Yoga Yajnavalkya Samhita says, if the malas have totally gone, when you are having the breath, the prana is in your system only. He is a yogi. The definition of yogi according to Yoga Yajnavalkya Samhita is nothing else. Whose prana is within the body.
So within the body.
Because it has the potential to be 12 angulas outside. They actually wait outside our body. 12 angulas. In fact, you would have known in some of the tantric texts, they are talking about the 12 angulas around the body also. So, the moment the impurities are removed, the prana will come inside. And you hold it. And you slowly start holding in such a way that you will get the capacity to hold on for any length of time, which is called Kevala Kumbhaka.
So Kumbhaka spontaneously happens and
yes, perfect.
And this Rudra Granthi, etc., I was just thinking, whether I am right or not, please tell me. The Mooladhara, that is the Brahma Granthi, when that is cut out, then the Vicheda, then you rise to a level from the sensual level of eating and enjoying, you rise to a level of navel, which is the Manipura.
Yes.
You come to the mental level where you write poetry and then write, etc. Most of the poets and these mathematicians and scientists, etc. And that also is Laukika Pragya.
Yeah.
Shankaracharya in the Bhashya, Koshosu Medhaya Apihidaha, the Taittiriya Upanishad says.
Yeah.
Initially he says, Medhaya Sprunotu.
Yeah.
With Meda. Later on say Medhaya Apihita. Meda also becomes a cover, is a covering.
Yeah.
Because you get caught in this mental process. Most of the speakers and writers and novelists, etc. So when that Granthi is also broken, then it goes into Agya. That is what they call the Rudra Granthi. There you have the Sakshatkara, the Saguna Brahman, which happened to Sri Ramakrishna also. But that is very difficult to cut. Only the Guru comes and tells you, now, in the case of Sri Ramakrishna, he could not go beyond that. He says, I cannot go beyond Kali. She is a living goddess standing before me. And his Advaita Guru Totapuri came and said, Kyo nahi hoga? Piece of glass and pierced the Agya and said, point to this. Then he says, again when the Mother Kali came, he imagined the knowledge as a sword, Jnana Khadga, and then cut the mother into two and then he went into the Advaitic realm business. So these are, the Lalita Sahasranama has such a profound wisdom in many of the...
Yes, it's a teaching fully of yogic, particularly tantric thing, completely.
Dakshinachara Tantra, the epitome there in that.
Tantric.
We have not read the Lakshmidhara's wonderful Tika, it seems available. These are things we don't study at all, unfortunately. Something should happen in this very life. Otherwise, what is the use of study? But your explanation is so simple and correct based on the Shastras. That's why we are so benefited by your talks.
Thank you, sir.
So, any questions? Chat box, if there is anything, please see.
I'll see. There is something in the chat box. Oh, it is only just appreciation. Excellent explanation. That's all. There are no questions.
So anybody can ask a question or put it in the chat box. We'll have about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If everybody is absolutely happy, then we...
That's what they say. Either they have understood completely or happy, or they have not at all understood anything. In which case also they won't ask us.
The ignorance is bliss. That's why Shushupti is the source of great bliss.
I made this Maharaj as a very practical aspect instead of just simply quoting a lot of this thing and giving. You know, that's why I gave the essentials of pranayama. A pranayama is a topic in yoga. Asana, pranayama, dhyanas are topics which are to be experienced.
Actually, unfortunately, the pranayama is least discussed.
Yes, 100, correct.
So this webinar entirely devoted to pranayama only. Nobody discusses pranayama.
And Maharaj, I want to share with you very interesting thing. We do a lot of rituals at home. Shraddha, you know, the priest will come. And then the priest will say pranayama, and then he will take the hand and he will go to the next one. I will tell my priest, stop Swamiji, why are you taking pranayama in between? Why should we do in between? One we will do on the first beginning and finally we will do. He said, I don't know that. I told him, wherever we are changing the course of the Agni, wherever we are pouring, we are making a pranayama. And you know, there are 3 mistakes that we are doing whenever we do rituals. That is mantra lopa, kriya lopa, niyama lopa. What mantras he says, he himself doesn't know, I don't know, and we are pronouncing wrongly. Kriya lopa, whether I should pour the ghee from here or here, how. And then niyama lopa, they are supposed to do something like not eating. Niyama lopa.
Vyapa?
Niyama lopa. Lopa.
Lopa.
Lopa means inner insufficiency, you know. Niyama lopa, mantra lopa, kriya lopa, niyama lopa. So we are doing so much, papa will come. So that is why we are doing so many pranayamas. The Vedic rituals are very clear about pranayama's role.
In the Bhagavan also, the Gita, that beautifully pranapana samakrita, pranayama parayana, etc. It's very pithy way he puts it. But unfortunately, the Shankara being the Advaitin, he doesn't explain anything to that.
Well, in Bhagavad Gita, Maharaj, he says, Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritaha Prana Apana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvitam. Pranayama. It is pranayama. If you do, that is why I am telling people, if you want to do something, do pranayama before taking the food. Before taking the food. Why are we doing Sandhya Vandana before morning, afternoon and night, and that is the time of our food? Sir, Maharaj, there are 2 questions. What is the difference between Anuloma and Nadi Shuddhi? Mahesh, Anuloma, this Nadi Shuddhi is where we use left inhale, right exhale, right inhale, left exhale. And there will be in classical form there will be a hold. In the Anuloma, it is in the north style. Anuloma is through only one nostril, inhale and exhale. Alternate nostril will not be done. So in our system Anuloma is different in our parampara, but north I have seen left inhale, left exhale, right inhale, right exhale. And in Nadi Shuddhi it is alternate. Role of Agni in pranayama is to, I told you, the malas are burnt by the Agni. What will be the general, the idea of inhale so many seconds, exhale so many seconds will depend on the individual. There is an idea of the ratio of 1-4-2, 1-4-2-1, inhale 1, 4 parts hold, 2 parts exhale 1 part. All this will depend on the individual. Some individual may be able to inhale 10, 40, 20, 10, but all may not be able to do. The seconds will depend on the person. But what has to be done is, it should be done in such an effective way that you remove the impurities properly. Agni types only Jataragni. We are talking about mainly Jataragni. In fact, sometimes it is called Vaishwanaragni in the Bhagavad Gita. Jataragni is what? What are the major mistakes? Yes, that's a good question. The major mistakes is we don't pay attention to pranayama when we are doing. That's first thing is attention must be done. It must be properly preceded every day by at least a small practice of asana, And I would say that we should follow strictly some food, ahara niyamam, then only the stomach movement will be very good. Without that, the pranayama will give peripheral effect only.
Without kumbhaka, suppose only rechaka and puraka get done. Is that the nadi shuddhi you are speaking about?
No, nadi shuddhi, classical nadi shodhana, nadi shuddhi, classical, hatha yoga pratipika, to give effect, inhale left, hold, yata saugharyam, as you must, as much as you can.
It's not 1-4-2.
There is no such idea here in the main this thing. Some schools talk about 1-4-2. It says inhale, hold yata shakti, exhale right. In fact, it says in inhale, it should be neither too much nor too little. That's all. It doesn't talk about some seconds. My inhale, your inhale, Swamiji's inhale will be different completely. It should be neither too much nor too little. Hold yata shakti. Exhale must be shanaihi. It should be done slowly. If you have held your breath more than the capacity, it will not be shanaihi. It will go fast. So this is how. That is why you need to be extremely attentive. The answer to that question is attention, total attention. And one more question is, I was informed pranayama should be done after some physical activity only. That is what I am saying. Physical activity means don't do physical activity. Do asana. Asana is that physical activity, but make it asana, not physical activity, by combining the breath and movements. And my question is, can we do immediately after we wake up or just, yes. On waking up, when you want to do pranayama, let us understand one thing, with a good question, and we didn't have the time to go through a lot of important dimensions. One dimension is inhalation, pranayama, trivida proktaha. Pranayama is considered to be three. One is recha, puraka, kumbhakayoho. That is rechaka pranayama. There is emphasis only on exhale. Puraka pranayama. There is emphasis only on inhale. Kumbhaka pranayama, emphasis on hold. And that is where the kumbhaka becomes two, Sayita, Kevala. But when we are emphasizing on inhale, what is that puraka? Puraka is brahmana. It makes you to invigorate. It makes you to become more, activity oriented. So, a puraka pranayama will make you awaken. So morning, as soon as you get up from bed, ideally do the puraka pranayama with a good hold also. But if you have to do a pranayama towards the night, which is also good, do a rechaka pranayama. Do a rechaka pranayama that will make you to calm down the mind. Rechaka, exhalation longer. In fact, in the Yoga Sutra, first chapter, apart from Ishvara Pranidhana, when the antarayas have to be brought down, it says pranayama is one of them. Prachardana, exhalation, vidharana, hold. Prachardana, vidharanabhyam va pranasya, exhalation, hold. That va has to be done along with the other this thing. So exhalation and hold will make the mind calmer. So just before going to sleep, I would say that we always ask the person to do a lot of exhalation, parts of the body relaxation. Yoga nidra can be, yoga nidra will come.
One of the nostrils or exhalation, inhalation. Normally we do inhalation, exhalation with both the nostrils. You say exhalation, inhalation, closing one nostril and doing the pura.
No, we don't have to, because closing one nostril, opening one nostril is something like Nadi Shuddhi and others. If we sit down and just put the chin down and start doing breathing and breathe out, in the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, in the first chapter, when they talk about Padmasana, it says Padmasana gives a lot of results. It removes even the papas and everything, and it makes this birth, cycle of birth and death go away. How can Padmasana do that? When simply sitting in the asana, it will not give. Commentator says, there sitting down, varam varam apanam urdham, take the apana up, put the prana down. So you will have to do the proper pranayama there after taking to Padmasana. Padma Padmasane sthite yogi. So that is where the integration comes. So you don't have to keep them, like, this is one way of doing. Another way is just sitting down and doing the breathing, inhale and exhale. In fact, the Yoga Sutra, that is why Yoga Sutra does not talk about inhale left, exhale right and all that. It says, Tasmin Sati, Shvasa Prashvasayoho, Gati Vichetaha Pranayamaha, Bhakya Abhyantara Stamba Vrittihi, Desha Kala Sankhyabihi. There comes the idea of Desha, Kala and other things. But first, essentially, is to put the mind into the involuntary breathing and to make it voluntary. Pranayama has already started. It has come. It will give the effect. Major prime benefits from pranayama, it actually has two important. One is, it has an effect of taking you to dharana to dhyana to samadhi. Pranayama itself can make you to go into samadhi. Some of the text talks about it, prime benefit. Second is, it removes all the illnesses, Yukta pranayama, sarva roga chaya. All the rogas will go away, fitness will come. Yes, the mind will become potentially powerful, absolutely. The mind becomes, because it becomes sharper and the rajas and tamas comes down, it becomes more and more, friendly. Atmaiva atmahi bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. So it becomes friendly. Pranayama makes my mind friendly. How do I make my mind friendly? Because most of the translations will say, that is the mind which is, make the mind friendly. How do I make the mind friendly? Do pranayama. Seasonal pranayamas I have not heard. Sometimes they say when there is summer you do Shitali and all. But I am not quite sure about that. There are some ideas. I don't want to subscribe to that. Because Shitali, it's not simply cooling the body like what we are talking about. It is actually a pitta hara. The Shitali is a pitta hara, and the pranayamas have got an effect on the three doshas. That is how the Ashtakumbhaka works.
In the Ajapa Japa technique, you have any idea of what they do?
I have heard about it, Maharaj, but I am not able to correlate it into this.
Because Kriya Yoga, so one sadhaka used to say, he'll take a cotton and then find out how long is the breath coming out.
Yes, that I have heard from my teacher. See, my teacher says, Bhakya Abhyantara Stamba Vrittihi, Desha Kala Sankhyabihi, Paridrishtav, Dhirga Sukshmaha. So what are the qualities of the breath? After you do pranayama correctly, how do you know it is there? It is dirga and sukshma. It can be dirga but not like that. It should be sukshma. So how do I know sukshma? Only a carton. The moment I bring a carton here, if it starts, and particularly we are supposed to keep it as lengthy as possible because it's dirga. Like a tap. If you open the tap slowly, the speed in which the water comes, it will be more and more and more.
And it can be held within, the cotton will not move at all.
Yes, it's light,
So many techniques because yogis are
pranayama is a very, very important and technique based one.
Is it because, my thinking, the pranayama is the only action in the body is both voluntary and involuntary.
Yeah.
So, if you want to make voluntary, involuntary, vice versa, take hold of the prana and then continue.
100%. Chale vade chalam chittam, nischale nischalam bhavet. That is what the Hatha Yoga Pradipika says. Chale vade chalam chittam. In fact, one thing I didn't have because the time is also another. there is always a doubt that people have about this vayu, prana, breath and prana and all. One is the breath is different, prana is different. In fact, Swami Vivekananda talks about it there, about the breath is different from prana. There are 18 pages that he gives in the Raja Yoga. And breath is the vehicle of prana. And vayu is, they add prana and vayu to say there is something together. And they, when I inhale, what am I inhaling? Am I inhaling air or prana? Both. Both is the answer. Through the air, I am inhaling prana. Through the air, I am exhaling apana.
Because the mantra also says, Namo Brahmane Namaste.
That's why Maharaj, you are not there. I just asked Swami. First I said Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayu. Why? Because I always give this mantra for pranayama classes.
Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma.
Brahmasi.
Thank you so much for so much of clarification, and it's a kind of satsang rather than lecture.
Thanks, Maharaj. Thanks again. I profoundly thank Maharaj and Swami, and I hope that it was useful to all the people. Thank you so much.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sat Shri Ram.